Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, you're going to have to bear with me today. I'm still getting over that nasty bug that's been going around, so my throat sounds really, really, really bad. Doctor Who, Series 12, Episode 2, Spyfall, Part 2. So, this episode continues the story from last time, where there's these dimensional creatures and they are doing something, but the Doctor's trying to figure out what, and now, of course, they're getting help from none other than the Master. So, this episode is still stellar, just like the last episode. Personally, I don't think it wrapped up as nicely as it could have in terms of the overall narrative, but the lore-based stuff that they bring in, which I won't spoil right away, is absolutely stellar. And it makes you, it kind of rocks the foundation of what Doctor Who is, in my opinion. I was sitting there going, there's no way they're going to have the guts to do what they do, and they do it. And this show is now taking risks, and I really like the fact that it's taking risks, and I'm really curious to see where they go with the lore. But yeah, Sacha Dhawan is excellent as the Master now that we know he's the Master and we've seen him for an entire episode in full force. This episode has the Doctor basically blasting throughout time, multiple time periods, trying to stop the Master without a TARDIS. And it caused the Doctor to have to basically team up with people that have no idea what's going on and really create this other mini-adventure. On top of this, the main storyline is going on, and that's what our companions are dealing with. And that was fine, but it again didn't really feel much like there was a resolution with that. That being said, it still worked out fine, but it could have been a lot better. Because they kind of hype up this who are you, who are these things, and it doesn't really go anywhere. And that I did have an issue with because I said, you couldn't have bothered to wrap that up. Unless that is the arc that we're going to get towards the end of the season. Maybe, but we already know where that's going because the Timeless Child is brought back up, which was in the last season, where they referenced the Timeless Child. And so it's clear that either that's going to be showrunner Chris Chibnall's entire arc of his entire tenure being there, or it's going to be a multi-season arc, and we're continuing that arc maybe to be wrapped up here with the Timeless Child. But none of that's confirmed, because that was one of the issues I had with last season. I didn't really review many of the episodes last season because I was quite frustrated with the season as a whole. And that was one of the things that bothered me, is I said, we just go nowhere with that whole Timeless Child thing. Well, now clearly we're picking it up here, and we're going to see where it goes. And I have theories of the Timeless Child, and maybe I'll get into that in a little bit. But again, this episode was very solid. The Paris in World War II era stuff was absolutely some of the best in the entire show. The Doctor and the Master have this entire dialogue back and forth that just works so well, and it's intense the entire time. Actually, there's a few of those spots that the dialogue was just plain intense that I was riveted the entire time. I really loved this episode. It's not as good as Spyfall Part 1, but I will say that it is still solid. Okay, now that I've gone through kind of the gist of my thoughts, I'm going to get to you on that spoiler. So, if you haven't watched the episode, you've been warned. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so the Master visits Gallifrey in the past before this episode, and he says that Gallifrey is destroyed. The Doctor's sitting there going, there's no way. No, that's not true. You're lying. And the Master is a master manipulator, so it's possible he's lying. And then at the end of the episode, the Doctor actually goes to Gallifrey, and Gallifrey is destroyed. The Master was correct. And then she gets a beacon, and she watches the hologram of the Master, explaining the fact that he's the one who killed Gallifrey, or, well, destroyed Gallifrey. And I'm sitting there going, oh, holy crap, they actually did it. They destroyed Gallifrey. After all of this time of trying to bring it back, Chris Chibnall just kicks down that story arc and says, nope, Gallifrey's going down. Gallifrey has fallen again, and the Master is the one that did it. And that, I think, heightens the stakes, because now the Doctor's home that he and she worked so hard to build back up and complete has now been destroyed by her arch nemesis. And that is going to add a whole nother level of almost like blood feud between these two, I think. And I'm really curious to see that. I'm looking forward to Sacha Dhawan more as the Master with that. So, yeah, Gallifrey's destroyed. That's an angle I didn't expect them to go. But I'm curious to see where that all goes. And the reason why the Master did it is he said that what they knew about the Time Lords, a lot of it is a lie, and brings up the timeless child. So there's something with that. There is something about Gallifrey that the Doctor needs to learn. And the Master's not going to tell the Doctor, because Doctor, figure it out on your own. So I'm legitimately curious. This has me hooked for the rest of the season. That is a fact. And so now the companions are also saying, we don't really know anything about you, Doctor. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of unearthing the Doctor's past in this season, and I'm very curious to see that. All right, guys, gals, and everything in between, what did you think of the episode? Did you like it as much as I did? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got plenty more videos coming to you. Love you guys.